Have you ever stared at a situation in your life and realized, with a sudden sinking feeling in the pit of your stomach, that there is absolutely no human way out of it? You look to the left, and the path is blocked. You look to the right, and the way is completely shut. You try to look forward, but all you see is an impenetrable wall standing between you and the future you thought you were going to have. You have done everything right. You have followed the rules, you have loved people well, you have worked hard, and you have prayed all the prayers. You have fasted, you have believed, you have stood on the promises of your faith, and yet the walls just keep closing in. The pressure continues to build, and the circumstances continue to deteriorate. Maybe you are standing on the very edge of a total financial collapse, watching bank account numbers dwindle down to single digits, while a mountain of unyielding bills piles up on your kitchen counter. Maybe you are facing a terrifying medical diagnosis, one that came out of nowhere, shattering your sense of safety and leaving you sitting in sterile doctor's offices trying to decipher words you never wanted to learn. Or perhaps it is a broken relationship, a marriage, a friendship, or a dynamic with a child that is fractured so deeply it seems completely beyond repair, leaving you with a hollow ache in your chest that simply will not go away. If you are facing an impossible battle right now, if you are running on empty and feel like you are at the end of your rope, please do not scroll away. This message is entirely for you. I remember when I hit my absolute breaking point a few years ago. I was facing a situation that felt like a massive, unmovable mountain right in the middle of my everyday life. It wasn't just a difficult season. It was an avalanche of hardship that seemed to bury me alive. I had lost my job unexpectedly. One day I was secure, planning for the future, contributing to my team, and the next day I was packing my belongings into a cardboard box, escorted out of a building that used to be my second home. The shock of it was paralyzing. Without that income, my carefully planned savings were draining faster than water through a sieve. I found myself standing in the grocery store aisles, meticulously calculating the cost of every single item in my cart, putting things back on the shelves because I simply couldn't afford them anymore. The anxiety of financial ruin was a physical weight, a constant tightness in my shoulders that never let up. And then, to make matters so much worse, to add absolute heartbreak to an already devastating situation, someone I trusted deeply walked away when I needed them the most. When you are going through a crisis, you look around for your lifeboats. You reach out to the people who promised they would always be there. But when the person you thought would hold your hand through the fire decides they cannot handle the heat, the betrayal cuts deeper than the circumstantial crisis itself. The double blow of losing my livelihood and losing my support system brought me to my knees. I was entirely isolated, adrift in a storm with no anchor and no compass. I vividly remember sitting on the edge of my bed at 2 a.m. It is always 2 a.m, isn't it? That is the hour when the distractions of the day fade away, when the phone stops ringing, when the emails stop coming in, and you are left entirely alone with your own thoughts. I was staring at the shadows on the wall, feeling completely suffocated by the heavy weight of it all. Have you ever been there? Have you ever existed in that specific, agonizing space where the silence of the night is absolutely deafening? The quiet doesn't feel peaceful. It feels oppressive. In that dark room, my own heartbeat sounded like a ticking clock, counting down to total disaster. Every thud in my chest was a reminder of time slipping away, of deadlines approaching, of impending ruin. I remember burying my face in my hands, the tears finally spilling over after weeks of trying to hold them back, and whispering into the dark room, "God, I can't fight this. I do not have the strength anymore. I don't even know what to do." I felt so incredibly small. I felt so entirely defeated by the world. Up until that point, I had been operating under the exhausting illusion that I had to figure it all out. I thought that because it was my life, it was my mess to clean up. I believed that if I just strategized enough, if I just sent out enough resumes, if I just made the right phone calls, if I just read the right self-help books, I could hustle my way out of the pit. I was trying to micromanage my own rescue. I was exhausting myself, trying to be the savior of my own story, attempting to conquer spiritual and emotional battles with purely earthly, human strength. But that night, in my utter exhaustion, when my human strength had completely run dry and I had nothing left to offer but my own brokenness, I stumbled upon a hidden promise in Psalm chapter 46. I reached for the worn Bible on my nightstand, desperately needing a lifeline, and my eyes fell on the first few verses of that specific chapter. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth give way, and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, and the mountains quake with their surging. And then, a few verses down, the ultimate command, be still, and know that I am God. I sat there in the dim light of my bedroom, letting those ancient words wash over my panicked mind. I began to really dissect what that promise meant. The scripture doesn't say that God has a refuge. It says He is our refuge. A refuge is a shelter, a safe house from danger, a fortress built to withstand the harshest elements. When you are in a refuge, you don't have to hold the roof up yourself. You don't have to brace the walls against the wind. The structure does the work of protecting you. Your only job is to stay inside it. Furthermore, the verse calls Him an ever-present help in trouble. In the original Hebrew, the phrasing implies a help that is abundantly available, a help that has been proven, a help that is right in tight with you. God was not sitting on a distant cloud, watching me panic at 2 a.m, detached, and waiting for me to get my act together. He was right there in the room with me. He was in the shadows. He was in the silence. He was in the tears. I realized in that profound moment of surrender that my strategy was fundamentally flawed. Have you ever seen someone caught in a riptide in the ocean? When a swimmer gets caught in a powerful current pulling them out to sea, their natural human instinct is to panic and swim as hard as they can directly toward the shore. But the current is always stronger than the swimmer. If they fight it, they will exhaust themselves, and that is when they drown. The only way to survive a riptide is to stop fighting. You have to float. You have to let the water carry you parallel to the shore until the current releases its grip, and then you can safely swim back. For months, I had been fighting a spiritual riptide. I was kicking and thrashing, trying to force my way back to safety, burning through every ounce of my mental and emotional energy. But God was gently whispering to me through the Psalms, stop fighting the current. Stop trying to outmuscle the ocean. Float. Be still. Let me carry you. Be still and know that I am God. That is not a passive, weak command. It is not an invitation to be lazy or to give up on life. It is actually one of the most aggressive, courageous postures a human being can take. To be still in the middle of a storm requires a radical, white-knuckled trust that the God who created the universe is actually capable of handling your specific crisis. It is a conscious decision to take your hands off the steering wheel when everything in your flesh is screaming at you to maintain control. When you find yourself staring at an impossible situation, you are standing in the exact same position the ancient Israelites were in when they were trapped at the Red Sea. In the book of Exodus, they were fleeing Egypt. They had an uncrossable ocean in front of them, rugged mountains on either side of them, and the deadliest, most ruthless army in the world charging up from behind them. There was absolutely no human way out. If they fought, they would be slaughtered. If they ran, they would drown. They panicked, just like you and I do. They cried out in terror. And what did God say to them through Moses? He didn't say sharpen your swords. He didn't say start building boats. He said, the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. And then, he split the sea. He made a way where there was literally, physically, logically no way. If you are listening to this, and you are feeling the crushing weight of an impossible mountain today, I want to invite you to do something incredibly brave. I want you to stop trying to be the architect of your own deliverance. Stop frantically Googling solutions at midnight. Stop rehearsing the worst-case scenarios in your mind. Stop believing the lie that if you just worry about it a little bit more, you will finally unlock the solution. You cannot outthink this problem. You cannot outwork this crisis. But you serve a God who can. God specializes in the impossible. His resume is entirely composed of situations that human beings deemed hopeless. He brings dead things back to life. He provides water in barren deserts. He restores years that the locusts have eaten. He turns mourning into dancing, and he trades heavy ashes for crowns of beauty. The same God who breathed the stars into existence, the same God who tells the ocean waves exactly where to stop, is intimately aware of your bank account. He is intimately aware of your medical chart. He is holding your broken heart in the palm of his hands. You do not have to have all the answers today. You do not even need to have the strength to take the next step. All you need to do is shift your posture from panic to surrender. You can simply come to him empty-handed and exhausted, and say exactly what I said on that dark night. God, I can't fight this. I do not have the strength anymore. I am giving it to you. When you finally let go of the heavy baggage of self-reliance, you make room for the miraculous power of God to enter your situation. It does not always mean the circumstances will change overnight. I didn't wake up the next morning with a new job and a restored friendship. But I woke up with an unexplainable supernatural peace that anchored my soul while the storm continued to rage around me. And day by day, step by step, God provided exactly what I needed. He opened doors I could never have pushed open myself. He provided financially in ways that still do not make mathematical sense to me. He brought new, loyal, incredible people into my life to replace the ones who walked away. He rebuilt my life on a foundation that was so much stronger than the one I had constructed on my own. He will do the exact same thing for you. So take a deep breath right now. Drop your shoulders. Unclench your jaw. Release the heavy burden you were never designed to carry. Let God be your refuge. Let Him be your strength. Let Him be your ever-present help in this exact moment of trouble. The walls are not closing in. They are simply forming a tunnel that God is going to lead you through. The story is not over. The final chapter has not been written. Be still, precious soul, and know that He is God. He has you. He is fighting for you, and He will never, ever let you go.